And we're back for part two, Western Conference. Rucker, we're not going through the pleasantries. We already did that. But in case you missed part one, go back, check your feed. We did the Eastern Conference. We're doing one major question per NBA team as a bit of a preview for the season. Highlight some of the young guys, some of the additions, question marks, all that good stuff. But we're on to the Western Conference now. Again, if you missed the Eastern Conference, go check it out. In part one on the audio feed. Videos on YouTube will eventually be cut up into division by division segments as well. Go check those out. But we're going to start out in the Northwest Division with with most people's title favorites, or at least finals favorites out of the West, the Oklahoma City Thunder. My only question is, can they have some of the same health luck that they had last year?
Off to a good start with Hartenstein.
Yeah, that was unfortunate timing.
Yeah, unfortunate timing, but it's okay. Injury luck is always such a big part of making a run. Like, you've got to just get super lucky because injuries all happen, and you see it every year. I think that's why OKC's made those moves, is now you bring more depth to the table. I think so. I think they've got the youth on their side. They've got the depth. You got guys like Caruso. If he gets banged up, then you put Dort in there, and you can kind of rotate everyone. I think they got the good mix of young guys. What are you thinking?
Yeah, and I as long as they don't have a devastating injury to Shea, J-Dub, Chet, I think they'll be able to survive anything kind of nagging or even medium in terms of time length. I just think they have the depth and the rotation and coaching creativity to deal with that kind of stuff. But they were incredibly healthy and incredibly lucky when it came to health last year. Per Spotrac, they only had 61 games missed due to injury, and they equated that as well to kind of dollars per day missed. And theirs equated out to 8.7 million. That's it. Both were lowest in the league by a lot.
That's incredible, and I desperately need that same stat for the Clippers.
Well, so for comparison, Minnesota was the next closest and the only other team under 100 games missed. And third was Indiana at 113. So Indiana had the third fewest games missed due to injury, and OKC had half of that. Also, if you want to go look at the other end of the spectrum, the Memphis Grizzlies had 577 games missed and a cash total of 73.9 million. So not only did OKC have incredibly few injuries, but the guys who got hurt and missed time weren't the stars either. So I thought those were kind of interesting numbers, and I'm hoping they stay healthy because they're incredibly good, they're incredibly deep, they're incredibly fun. But it's tough. It's really tough to do multiple years in a row.
I have one for you. I was thinking about this today about OKC because the Presti mania, the picks, everything, obviously with like the news today about Kawhi Leonard, with OKC fans were just twisting their mustaches of, we have the unprotected pick of the Clippers. This is interesting. Could Cooper Flag be coming to the Thunder? Let's pump the brakes there a little bit, but it's very exciting. I'm kind of in the camp of like, should Presti just never trade the picks and just keep drafting young guys, and like he finds his, you know what I'm trying to say.
I mean, with
obviously
how limited the second apron is, might kind of have to.
I just think like you find your pieces, you keep drafting the young guys, you keep recycling that, because you have to kind of contract chase and start playing the numbers. Like if you give Chet a big extension, if you give J-Dub a big extension, then you kind of have to start being strategic. Now, yes, down the road, they could overpay for a certain type of player, because you could just be like, hey, we need a backup big. Let's just give them 2 first, because what the heck? We need it. We'll overpay for it. But I just think instead of like trying to trade all those first for like a big name, I think I just keep drafting, keep building depth, and then I don't know. It was just bugging. Like today, I was like, I can't stop thinking about this. Got to bring it up on pod. Talk to Metcalf about it. I think I just keep stacking that roster and just keep finding
because I mean,
right,
with those
next year we
draft
need to get
picks,
better shooting.
with those draft picks, they have the flexibility to take a home run swing and take a guy who's ready to fill a specific need or contribute right away as well, and both will be on incredibly cost controlled contracts. So
yeah.
then it's shocker, but one of the best teams in the league, who's really smartly well run, is in a great spot going forward. Who'd have thought?
Who would have thought?
All right, moving on to the Denver Nuggets. Who steps up and replaces KCP?
I think it's got to be Strother, but
Ooh,
I also feel like it's a very big year for Christian Braun.
yeah.
What do you thought? What do you think?
I think it's kind of going to be committee between those two.
Brown. I hate his name. Just spell it the right way. I always hate it. CB. I just think he needs to take that step this year that we thought he was going to take last year.
And I think he's going to get the opportunity off the bat. His defense has been really good his entire time in the league. It's just how real is the shot? And, he was in the 73rd percentile in 3-point percentage at 39% last year, but very low volume, just 14th percentile in frequency. Preseason shooting 7.7% on 3.3 attempts. Not ideal. It's also preseason. So, but the bigger issue is that no one really treats him as a shooter. If their possessions are ending with him taking a three, most teams, at least the past 2 years, have been more than okay with that. And they've just kind of let him shoot. Where I think it gets a little tricky is that Strother, I think his shooting could really give him the edge and be more of that seamless fit on the offensive end. But the defensive concerns are what they are. In preseason, 44.4% from three on 4.5 attempts. Last year, he's down at 32%, but in 79th percentile in frequency. So the volume was there. And I think offensively, with him running off of screens, we saw it in Summer League where he was fantastic. I think Brown's going to get the nod at the beginning of the year, but if the shooting really struggles, it won't shock me at all if Strother takes it over pretty quickly.
Wow. First preseason, thought I was unmuted and I was muted, so that was embarrassing. I agree. I think it's got to be between those two. They have a lot of pieces I still like on that roster, but I'm trying to figure out who's the guy that's going to step up. The Westbrook thing is obviously the biggest, wow, I can't believe they did this. Malone has been weird in the preseason. I feel like there's a lot of comments where I'm like, is Denver kind of a mess right now? I feel like he's been poking the bear, trying to get people to be fired up. And I'm like, oh gosh, is Denver... We're going to look up in the middle of the year and be like, Denver's the 5 seed, 6 seed? What's going on?
And
Jokic
if
still rocks?
looks anything like he did at the end of last year and in the Olympics.
Yeah, it'd be tough. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this the right way. Mr. Metcalf, let's go to the team that I'm very excited about, and every day I keep getting more excited about. Your Minnesota Timberwolves. How quickly and easily does a Sir Julius Randle fit in? You can say both ways. Fit in.
That's obviously the big question mark with this team because they shipped out. It's sort of a 1-for-1 replacement with him and Cat. It just, to be clear, Cat is the better talent. He's a better player, but stylistically they're kind of similar. Ton of question marks on defense. Cat's a much better shooter, but I think Randall's ability to kind of create on ball, create for others, attack the rim, get downhill, with fewer turnovers is a little more comfortable. There are obviously going to be some bumps in the road. It was good to see that he was at least able to get in one preseason game the other night with these guys, and decent game. 15 points, 50% shooting, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 turnovers, solid stat line. And it's a little more encouraging that his breakout year with the Pelicans was when Chris Finch was on that roster and their offensive coordinator. I just think stylistically on offense, I think it might be a little less clunky than we may have thought initially. But a lot of that's going to come down to what does the ball movement look like, and hopefully it doesn't stick too much. And between, because Ant's guilty of that too, where they just kind of dribble the air out of the ball, where it's catch, survey, now go. And if Ant's doing that, if Randall's doing that, it can just kind of bog down the offense. But I kind of shockingly don't have a ton of concerns about his fit, even though I'm not the biggest Randall fan, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. For listeners, for part one, you'll like this. If we're comparing the Cam Thomas hour shot tracker, Julius Randle, the highest he ever got was 18.6. So that just shows you Cam Thomas really got to get up there. You know what? I was listening to Simmons and Russillo and House today on the over under pod, which is always just a fantastic listen. And having them 3-parter is psychopath. And I forget, shout out Albert, I forget how bad those Knicks teams were when Randall was just like getting, like he averaged 24 and 10 that year. I think he was all NBA. They were bad. That was a bad team.
Yeah.
They didn't have much guys offensively. So like, I think he get kind of a bad rep. I think he's going to be a bounce back guy for sure. Contract year guys are just fantastic basketball players. It's amazing how efficiently and they buy in and they really play tough. So like, I think it's a good move. I like the Randall wild card a little bit more, even if it's like kind of a timeshare with Naz Reid getting some more minutes. I liked it. I'm a fan. DiVincenzo looking like everyone in the league insulted his whole family.
I love him.
It's so probably my favorite thing of the whole year. I hope he's just like just lit a fire. He's just like, he's going to visualize basically like Waterboy. He's going to visualize that Tibbs is in every single stadium. So I love it. It preseason was like exciting.
Yeah, and Dante's looked incredible. Also, shout out Josh Minot.
The Minot hour? I didn't expect that.
Goodness. He has looked, and all summer, that entire organization has been hyping him up too. So I don't know how he gets minutes, but I think he's going to be in this rotation. So he's been very good. Very, very good. Okay, let's move on to the Utah Jazz. This may be a quick one too.
Yeah.
At what point do they shut it down and begin to tank? They're a well-coached team. They have some intriguing talent. We've seen it the last couple of years where they kind of get out to a bit of a hot start, maybe a little too hot, and then shut it down. So how long until we hit that point?
November 13th. Because that'll be the day after Duke plays Kentucky. So I think a while. I think they're going to be doing a little bit of a better version of the Wizards. I think they're going to play some young guys. I think they're going to play Laurie and still like probably. It's tough with those guys because I think you get to a point where you're like, you know what, we like him. And no one's given us the offer we want. We're not going to just give them away.
Yeah.
We like them. Let's just keep them and kick the can down the road, and then we'll revisit this scenario in a year or two.
He's still like 27? How old is he?
Laurie? He's got to be younger.
Yeah,
but you think of it this, like, you also got to think of it this way if you're like in that front office. Keontae is a rising stud. Give him someone that is a fantastic running mate for him to continue to develop.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can kind of shift away from that. You just had another great draft class. You've got, I think this is a big year for Taylor Hendricks minutes. Like they just need to play Taylor a bunch. They need to play a bunch of those young guys, see what you got, but get them some consistent minutes, the big level. And then I think you revisit all that stuff down the road. But, develop Keontae, what you got with Sensabaugh, you got the rookie class, Cody, whatever they're going to do with him. I still think Salt Lake City is going to look fantastic for Cody at times this year. And I'm just more saying they just need reps, and Collier, I think, looks good. Phil Palsky, whatever. But yeah, sooner than later, going to be interesting. They're going to somehow like end up landing ace. And I'm going to be like, oh my goodness. So, it's just fun in this class thinking like they could land this, and there's probably like 10 guys I could get excited about right now.
Well, and their pick is top 10 projected this year. So at some point, they're shutting it down. And what if that
Who does it go to?
Who do you think?
OKC.
Yeah.
You could guess OKC. You got a good chance every year right now to be it right.
But like at some point, like around the deadline, if Colin Sexton continues to look really good, like he did for most of last year, do teams start calling for him or Jordan Clarkson?
I still am shocked he hasn't been moved. Someone's gonna he will get moved.
I would be surprised if he didn't. But
yeah.
So okay. Let's move on to the Portland Trailblazers and Rucker. Can anyone on this team make a jumper? So last year, they ranked last in effective field goal rate, at rim shooting percentage, mid range shooting percentage, and 3-point percentage. In the preseason, they're currently shooting 30.9% from three. Is this team ever going to make a jumper?
I think so. I like what they're building. I'm trying to get yesterday's footage out of my head, but I like what they're building. I do wish they had a little bit more shooting. I think Denny's gonna have a very big year for them. Yeah. Also, like, can I ask you? We haven't talked about this. The comments made about Denny from Chauncey Billups that everyone blew out of proportion. That he was like Denny. He was like, so Denny's the best player on our team. And everyone was like kind of blowing up, and I was like, "What's wrong with that comment?"
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that comment. Like Shaden's played a year combined because he's missed so many games. Maybe
Jeremy Grant.
I mean, probably not Aiden.
In a setting where he's engaged, maybe Jeremy Grant.
Contract year, Jeremy Grant is better than most people. You know what I'm saying, though? Like, I was like, I don't have anything wrong with that comment.
Simons hasn't been healthy. DeAndre Ayton, no, thank you.
It's also your
Scoot isn't there yet.
Scoot's not there yet. He's looked much better. Everyone's really quiet when he has a good couple of games, but everyone's very loud when he has one bad game. I know the
Wizards were bad last year, but Denny was good.
Denny's been good.
He was really good.
Denny's been good. I don't understand why people are like shocked about this. Denny is good. He's gonna have a great year. So, yeah, I think he's their shooter though.
Which is tough.
Which is tough. Like that's the shooter. So yeah, they need Shaden to be healthy, which is just like there's just a couple of young guys when I get like that Shams bomb. Gosh, I can't believe it's just only Shams now. Haynes bomb? No. But Shams just like put that and I was like, gosh, can this guy just stay healthy? We just need a full year. So I'm hoping that's the last one. But
I mean,
Shaden's gonna be their second best shooter, probably.
Ace Bailey on this team would be fun. Cooper Flag would obviously be fun, but
Khan would be nice on this team.
Oh, Christ. Yeah, he would.
They needed that's the direction they need to go. McNeely. Maybe.
Talk to me about Tamani.
Oh gosh. You want to talk about a leap guy. That dude looks like we're going to be having a conversation about like, is Tamani the building block? Like I sent you a clip of one of their practices and I rewound the clip like 5 times. I was like, that fucking Tamani? Like he just looked like a guy that was possessed all offseason. He threw down a dunk and I was like, oh, who is that? And then he's playing really good. I think he's going to be a building block for Portland. I really do. I think he's going to have a very nice year, and it's going to be like, he's staying around. Tamani Kamara is going to be a very important piece of that team's future.
Yeah, it's just one of those kind of really incredibly versatile and effective defenders. Does all the dirty shit that your stars don't want to do, and will do it gladly and at a very high level.
I think it's going to be like offensively, though, he's going to start
Yeah, and if he develops
just
any
knowing
sort
the
of
role.
like a corner 3, it'll be freaking huge.
Well, me and you even talked last year when we did that rookie roulette,
Mhm.
and we said, hey, if he became PJ Tucker,
Yeah.
like they might play 10 plus years. And right now I'm like, oh, we might be thinking a little low. Like he just might be a guy that's like, they're not going to let him get away from him because he's going to be playing good two-way basketball and be smart and understand his role and excel at his role. So I'm very pumped with what I've seen, and I'm very Jack in the comment, Shane Battier. That's a good one.
Fun one.
That's a very good one. So what a shocker. Those second round guys have some value. What a shocker. So I'm very I'm trying to buy as much stock as humanly possible for Tumani.
Agreed. All right, let's move on to the Pacific Division after a quick break.